heavy, fella. Look here.
Stand by.
One for C-Lab, two for Ego, three for Wolverine to round out the trio in this episode. Everybody dies.
Broadcasting live from inside the Power Band, this is The Blah. In this episode, everybody dies. I'm your host, Kevin, also known as the Wolverine, along with my super friends, Ben, also known as Jarhigo,
Eugene Jafar,
and Chad, also known as Orange Sassy Squirrel.
What's up?
Welcome to the podcast, folks. This week, we're going to be tackling the 2020 Christopher Nolan epic titled Tenet. A lot of interesting things surrounding this movie, and we're excited to talk about it. Let's get to it. Well, firstly, this will be the second coronavirus movie that we've done. The first one was Bloodshot, and we did that right when it came out. And then we've actually been talking about this movie for months and whether we're going to do it or not do it and that sort of thing. So just so I got my facts straight, and maybe for the folks at home too, Chad, this movie finished post-production and was going to be released in what, like March or April? Is that right? And then it was like, oh, do I release it? Do I not release it? And then he just went ahead and did it anyway. Do I have that right?
Evidently, it was meant to be released the 17th of July, which would have been very much in the middle of all of the crap. And then
right,
they bumped it to late August, which even still was not, in hindsight, probably the best move. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, not any better.
As with every other movie this calendar year, or this past calendar year, it was a bit of a debacle.
Yeah, that is tragic.
I'm glad to see it made its money back, but, it was a very ballsy movie in terms of just, like, it's quite, like, it's trying to be actiony and stuff, but it's also quite, I don't know, cerebral. So it wouldn't have been, I would imagine it wouldn't have been super successful with just general audiences, but with the fat-ass budget like that, like, it was pretty ballsy to go for it.
Well, clearly that was a mistake, because I didn't really hear a lot about this movie. I wasn't seeing much fanfare and so forth, so.
But aside from the, like, coronavirus stuff, and aside from the, like, barely made its money back stuff, at a high level, I feel like this movie is one of Nolan's most ambitious when it comes to his style and his maybe obsessions. Like, he clearly has an obsession with time, going all the way back to Memento. And the fact that he has the clout to get a $200 million budget to make a movie like this, like, I'm glad that he took a swing at the bat. I'm glad he took a swing at bat, but I can understand why it, isn't, a Batman movie. Like, it's not super accessible. It's very much a, like, people that, like, really think PC movies with some fun action bits mixed in.
Yeah, I pick up what you're saying. Look, I think the movie was, I thought the cast was great. I thought it was beautifully shot. It's definitely ambitious. I kind of think it's a swing and a miss. It felt sloppy to me. It felt, I don't know. It felt like Nolan, like, trying too hard to make a Nolan movie or something, Mm-hmm. And I think you said to me, like, oh, you got to watch it twice. And I was like, no, I don't. I have such little bandwidth these days that, like, if I have to watch something twice for it to, it's not that it didn't make sense to me. It made total sense to me. It's just, I don't know for me what a second viewing would have done to secure a more favorable outcome.
Sure.
Well, I mean, look, I think it's important to point out that, like, you should be able to watch a movie in one shot, and you should be able to understand what's going on in one viewing. It's like you brought up subtitles and little bits of exposition that they put on screens in other movies, and it's like, we had a little debate, I remember, in another episode where we were talking about how, if you have to do that, you're not doing your job right,
Yeah, I said that, yeah.
Yeah, so, from that standpoint, you should be able to watch it one time and understand what's going on and not necessarily need to watch it a second time. From a total nerdy standpoint, we talked about this. Like, if movies are great, I watch them many, many, many times, and this is a movie that I do want to watch again because I want to see what I missed because, in addition to all of the stuff that Ben said, like, this is a long movie. It's a Nolan movie, and there's a lot going on. So, and it's also very interesting and different and ambitious. So from that standpoint, I would want to watch it again to see what I missed, what I didn't get, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And I have I've been like putting my kid down for a nap of an afternoon on like the weekends, and you know what we've been doing is like we'll watch a couple of like stupid YouTube videos that he wants to see, just like as you know, it's like we're gonna watch 2 little short videos and then it's time for you to have a snooze, dude. And so while he's drifting off, like I'll watch something. And he's old enough now where like I want to watch something that's not like gonna be inappropriate for him to watch, you know. And so like I've been watching like bits and bobs of Tenet, and I've ended up watching it like I think I've watched it like 4 or 5 times now. And I definitely found the second viewing very enjoyable and similar for future viewings, but like I get what you're saying. I think a counter example of that, which, you know, could be easily argued against what I'm about to say, but is Donnie Darko, where like Donnie Darko I think had a lot of its kind of cult enjoyment because of how confusing it was. And my understanding of that movie is they like ripped out a huge chunk of the film that would have actually explained everything, and potentially just like it wouldn't have worked quite as well. So I do think there is a place for movies that are meant to not necessarily be digested in one shot. Whether that's a blockbuster or not, I think is a potential point of discussion. But I normally am in agreement with like movies need to be able to be, you know, understood in one go. But I personally kind of like the puzzle nature of some movies that require more than one viewing. But it might just be more my flavor, you know. So I'm not defending it as a like totally not a big deal thing. It's just like I kind of enjoy cerebral movies and like puzzly kind of movies.
And that's what I meant by my nerdy comment. So
Yeah.
I would say that's the same thing as what I said, essentially. You know what I mean? But I would say from a viewing standpoint, for the average viewer, you should be able to watch a movie one time and be like, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
You know, for the most part.
Just to be clear, I'm sure I know there was a lot going on in the movie, and I'm sure there might have been 1 or 2 things that I missed, but I got it. It's not like I didn't get it in my first viewing. You know, I understood what was going on. I understood the concepts.
Unlike a Donnie Darko, yeah. No, I'm with you. Like I got it too. By the end of the first viewing, I was kind of like, I get it. I still want to check it out again because there was some bits that was like, there's a lot going on backwards and forwards and here and there and stuff. But yeah, I agree. Like I agree, you get it on the first go round, but I don't know. I just
right.
It's also confusing at times intentionally.
Okay, my high level is similar to yours. Like Ben said, it looks fantastic. I really like the lead actor. I've never seen him before. Chad, when you and I discussed it the other night briefly, we were talking about how Ben didn't enjoy it as much. And in that conversation, I didn't remember what Ben had said, but I said it's somewhat akin to that book series you guys keep talking about, the Quantum Thief, where you just kind of thrown in and you don't know what's going on, who's who, and this, that, and the other thing. And, you know, you kind of have to figure it out as you go. So from that standpoint, I kind of appreciate it. I mean, I appreciated that quality of the movie because sometimes I like to discover things as they're unfolding. And then there's other times when you're just not in the mood for that. And you're like, I want to know, who's this guy? What's he doing? You know, that kind of thing. But I think that aspect of the movie, I think it worked and it didn't work. So on some levels it did work, and on other levels it didn't necessarily work, in the sense that certainly you're going to kind of isolate some viewers by doing that. Maybe. I don't know. Or some people are going to be turned off by it. I have no idea. But, you know, again, beautifully shot. Love the lead. I loved all of the actors. I mean, Nolan movies have a certain look to them, and I think it's fantastic. You know, there's a certain feel. There's absolutely a definite style. The music is tied in with that, and it's, you know, it makes for an enjoyable experience. That being said, this is ambitious, and it's more like a science fiction movie where we literally discovered time travel tomorrow. So it takes place like in the present, which makes it very different. And it was also a very different take on time travel, which I enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, it was also a little bit confusing. And yes, it would be great to watch it another time, or possibly 2, or whatever. I don't know if I would call it a miss. I think it's, from a high level standpoint and a sort of pinch zooming out, like it's probably more of a victim of bad timing than anything. I mean, maybe it's a little ambitious in terms of the content. You know, when you start getting into time travel and you really start diving into it, it can really warp your brain as a viewer. So, you know, and Nolan doesn't shy away from things like that. I mean, look at Inception. Like, it's intense, to say the least, you know. Maybe it's a little too heady. I don't know. I'll leave it at that for now.
I hear what Benny was saying about Nolan trying to kind of out Nolan himself. Like, I feel like Nolan and his flavor and his obsession with kind of the esoteric and cerebral kind of concepts and twists and stuff like that, like The Prestige. It's similar to like a Wes Anderson. Like Wes Anderson has a flavor, and I feel like Nolan has a flavor as well. It's obviously very different. So I totally get that for sure. And then to your comment about both of your comments about how well shot it was in terms of like cinematography, and it looked great. I think one of the key factors for me there is how essentially I believe every single thing in the film is in camera and not visual effect or green screen.
Mm-hmm.
So like they really crash an airplane into a building, and the buildings that blow up in the end was like, bigature models. And so I really like that they spent the money to do all that kind of stuff. And I think that's a big factor in the, the beauty of the film.
The quality. Yeah, absolutely. It's like John Frankenheimer, like John Frankenheimer, did these incredible action movies, and everything was done analog, and his last movie was the horrible Reindeer Games, but the one before that was Ronin, with De Niro, which is one of my favorite movies. And the car chase scenes and all of that stuff in that movie are just fantastic.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
It harkens back to that, in my opinion.
I'm fully on board with the like being thrust into the middle of things and figuring out as you're going along aspect of this movie. That's totally fine. It's just the longer it went on and the more it unfolded, the more it just felt to me like, and I know this isn't probably, it's very unlikely not true. No one, I don't think, would ever do this, but it feels like it was being made up as it went along, or like something was being like, something in the editing process was not going well, and like they changed their mind or something. Like it just had a feeling to me that it's hard to really put my finger on anything specific. But the longer the movie went on, the more I was like, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. It just started to feel like it was being made up as it went along, and that aspect of it really ended up kind of turning me off.
It's totally reasonable.
And maybe it's just the premise, that it's, as Kev said, it's kind of a different take on time travel. I don't know. It's definitely not my favorite Nolan movie.
Yeah. It's interesting because like I watched a couple of YouTube videos that kind of provided some interesting context that I hadn't considered before. One of which was like essentially saying like this was Nolan's masterpiece and blah, 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 blah. And I think what the person was getting at was like he kind of puts forward the idea that as this movie is digested over the years, it might actually grow in stature with the fan base. But then again, maybe not. And I totally get what you're saying in terms of like as the plot progressed in the first viewing, it just got more and more. I mean, I don't particularly agree with this choice of words, but I think it's easily could be said that it gets more convoluted as the plot progresses.
I agree with that.
But just from my personal tastes, I enjoyed that convolution. But I get it, man. I totally understand where you're coming from, for sure. And I also totally understand that it wouldn't be your favorite Nolan movie. Like, I think a lot of people would feel the same way.
I'm just going to kind of retro comment on a couple of things. I didn't really feel like this movie was shot out of order in his normal style, where he kind of jumps around. I feel like it was a little more linear, and I think it had to be because you're already kind of doing that with the time jumping and the time travel. Sorry, not time jumping, time travel. You know what I mean? And I think that it definitely gets more convoluted at the end. And that brought me to the comment or the thought of you kind of have to have time travel 101 and 102 already down before you watch this movie. So I could make an argument that this is like musicians' music in the sense that this is like nerds' time travel science fiction as opposed to regular time travel science fiction. Like you already have to,
as opposed to Avengers Endgame.
Yes, like you have to know or have watched enough time travel movies going into this to have some sort of understanding of how it works, And while I think the general population does at this point in time, especially after Timecop came out. Crickets, nothing.
I didn't know if you were serious.
That's a bloody death right there.
I was like, I think he might be serious there.
It's buckets of blood right there.
I think the fact that I didn't laugh at your joke almost makes it funnier in a way.
I think it does too.
Because you kind of convinced me you were serious for a second, so I think I might be dead there.
My lack of laughter is totally the result of me like being cocked and loaded and ready to like fire off something else. And you just threw a curveball at me that I wasn't ready for.
Well, take the shot, Benny. Where were you?
Yeah, please.
Oh, I don't know that this movie felt like the best time travel movie to me.
Well, I actually agree with that too.
I mean, nobody's traveled through time, but, you know, the typical, like, Back to the Future sort of thing where, like, you know, what you do in the past affects your present. Like, as far as I know, that's not how it actually works. Like, you know, you could actually go back in time and kill your, you know, great-grandfather and you would still be there. Because even though you're in the past, it's still even though you travel to the past, it's still your present. You know what I mean? Like, nothing actually changes.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that this movie was really adhering to that as much. I'm not sure now that I think about it, but you know, it's sort of a subtle evolution that's happened with time travel plots that I don't know if every movie has caught up to yet.
I hadn't thought about that either, Ben, and I think you may be right about that. I think that just to finish where I was going before, having seen, you know, everybody's seen Timecop and everybody's seen Back to the Future and The Time Machine and all these movies about time travel. They're great. And I mean, look, really, at the end of the day, we don't know. I mean, you can sit in a room and be as much of a genius as you can be and do all the math that you want. But at the end of the day, we still don't know. And there's probably other factors out there that we haven't even thought of. So who's to really say?
I'm just hearing Sean Carroll in the back of my head being like, actually, that's not the way it works.
Right.
You know, that kind of smarmy, you know, attitude he can sort of sometimes purvey, you know, but I would certainly trust his opinion on things more than, you know, whatever my own intuitions might lead me to believe, or certainly whatever Christopher Nolan might put on the screen.
Sure.
Although, as far as if I might guess that like he probably was a consultant on the film, so I don't know.
Well, I totally agree with you, dude. Look, I'm just saying that, you know, this kind of goes along with my human arrogance comment that I've made a few times, that we think we know so much, you know, and then as we go through time, it turns out that, hey, well, we didn't really know as much as we thought we knew, and now there's new information. That's it, really.
Yeah.
But I agree that the top people know, I would say, you know, a solid amount to make, you know, the claims that they make. So at any rate,
you're describing the scientific process there. But, you know, still the information that they have is the best information possible. So
that's it. Yes. The information is the best possible that we have. So that being said, you kind of need to have time travel 101 and 102 before you go into this movie, because it does get convoluted at the end. Like at the end, I was kind of like, wait, so what actually happened here? You know what I mean? And the way that they present time travel in this movie makes it difficult to understand because it's somewhat of a new perspective. And, you know, the whole exchange between him and Pattinson, who I loved in this movie, by the way.
Yeah, it was great.
Was just, you know, kind of mind-blowing, you know, in that sense that we've seen scenes like that before, like, but we haven't met yet, but we're going to be friends for 20 years, and then we're going to come to this point, you know, like,
yeah,
that kind of thing. And then Homeboy was just like, whoa, you know, and then the movie ends, you know, like, wait, what? You know, like it was quite a bit of wait, what, for sure.
I think in the time travel space, I even like find myself hesitant to use the phrase time travel, even though that's literally what's happening, because I just have connected with the idea that time travel in like movies and stuff is jumping around and jumping through time. And so I liked that this was like, if you want to go back, you got to like sit there and go back, you know, like you actually have to just sit on a fucking boat for a week in order to go back a week. And you have to sit on a boat for a week in order to go back for a week and sort out something that you want to change or whatever. So I liked that it was a little bit different, you know, of an approach, because we did have a chat when we were talking about Endgame, how it was just kind of like, yeah, you know, branching reality shit again. It was entertaining, but like, I wonder if there's anything new that people can do with time travel. And I would argue that it was pretty fresh from my perspective.
Well, you know, in that sense, Chad, this movie if you're going to compare it to another Nolan movie, it's like Interstellar.
Yeah.
Because Interstellar tackled space travel, wormholes, and all of that sort of thing from
Time
a new
dilation.
perspective of yeah, exactly. Time dilation, a very scientific perspective, new scientific information. So I would say that he was aiming for the same sort of idea with this time travel film, grounding it in reality, you know, and this is what we know and that kind of thing, and all the things about the air and the, you know, everything moving backwards, and that stuff was just wild, you know, and also made it difficult to follow. I would say the difference between the two films is he hit the mark on Interstellar and maybe not so much on this one.
Definitely hit the mark on Interstellar.
Yeah, I just watched that. It's so good. Even with McConaughey taking his shirt off.
Especially with McConaughey taking his shirt off.
Sorry, what am I saying? Especially. Come on, Tars, come on, Tars, give it to me, man.
You mentioned we brushed on something earlier that I can't remember exactly what it was, but it reminded me of how the structure of this movie isn't necessarily only time travel focused. It's also a palindrome. So the name Tenet is a palindrome, and the source of the word Tenet evidently comes from Pompeii with like a 5x5 grid of letters, of which Tenet is the central line, the third line. And each of the lines are palindromes and opposing lines. So it's Satyr, Arepo, Tenet, Opera, and Rotas. And so like the bad guy in this is Satyr. So like clearly there was some, you know, inspiration from palindromes. And the movie is not exactly a palindrome, but it kind of is. It kind of starts, and at the halfway point it starts reversing again. So I kind of enjoyed that structure as well.
Well, I think you're onto something there, and I think this is where like the second and third and fourth viewings and the real super deep dives come into play, because if we were really doing a deep dive, we could go, is, you know, all the events in the movie the same backward and forward? Is the movie the same backward and forward? Like blah, 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 blah. And I don't really know what the answer is, and I don't really have the mental energy to go there right now.
Fair enough.
I totally dig what you're saying. Like I picked up the palindrome thing because I found a great palindrome the other day that I really liked. Taco Cat.
Ooh, that's good.
Right. So even more.
Yeah. Taco Cat's pretty good.
But I did dig that aspect of it.
Yeah, I suppose it just is a secondary thing that backs up my personal enjoyment of it and considering it as a fresh take on time stuff. So,
where to next?
You got any love for the palindromes, Benny?
Yeah, no, I don't have any love for palindromes.
No.
There's a guy that we all know, but nobody else does, so I'll spare the name. But he is kind of obsessed with palindromes.
Okay.
So much that you know, the logo for his band he made look like a palindrome, even though the name isn't a palindrome.
Did he change his name to Palindrome?
No, his name's Taco Cat.
I'm pretty sure he wishes his name was a palindrome, but
Or maybe he should change his name to Palin Space Drome.
So now you hate palindromes? Is that what we're getting at?
Yes.
I'm just, yeah, I don't know. They exist, you know. It's interesting when you find one out in the wild, but I'm not particularly captivated by palindromes. No,
Don't fucking care. I love it. That's so good.
Good stuff.
You touched on Pattinson a minute ago. I think it might be worth just touching on the key players here.
As we always do, and as we need to. Yes, this guy. Okay, so this guy, this actor, he had the fortunate and unfortunate situation of being in the Twilight saga movies. Sorry, I have to bring this up, man. Just
all
a little
good,
bit.
man.
You laugh all you want. I don't care. Because you know when you do a series like that, I think less so in this day and age, but certainly it used to happen more and more. Where you just get painted into that corner, you get typecast as that character, blah blah blah. You know, it really helped his career, no doubt about that, and turned him into a teen Tiger Beat heartthrob. I always kind of wanted to see him in more stuff. I'm actually really kind of curious and excited to see what he does with Batman. I don't know if he's going to hit the mark, but I will say that he was awesome in this movie. I love the character that he created with all of the great nuance that you want to see from a character that an actor could create and put into that character. I can't say enough good things about it. Part of the reason I want to watch the movie is because I want to watch him again and his performance again. I thought it was that good.
Yeah, he was super like rakish. He kind of had that like the Raj in India kind of vibe. Like he did a great job. They did a great job costuming him. I really enjoyed his performance, no doubt.
The Raj from India.
Yeah, so like when the British were in charge of India, they were known as the Raj, and so you just like you could see him like riding an elephant in a jungle in the outfits that he was wearing, like drinking gin and tonics, like oppressing his Indian servants and shit. Like he totally just had that kind of old school Brit thing.
Yeah, it's Batman all the way down, and I quit the podcast. See you later.
Oh shoot, I forgot the Batman reference.
Yeah, that's a Benny murder.
It's Batman, it's Pattinson, it's fucking Nolan.
I think it's. I like how you add the inclusion of quitting every time we do the Batman reference now.
I'm so looking forward to reviewing Batman now.
It's going to be like Jarhigo dying the entire episode.
Yep.
I'm just not. I'm sorry. I'm going to bow out for that one.
I'm going to pass.
That's a hard pass. I've heard that he's amazing in The Lighthouse. I still haven't seen that. And we touched on it briefly, just to everybody Kevs for a second. We talked about The King on Netflix with Timothée Chalamet, who's playing Paul Atreides in the upcoming Dune film, where Pattinson was the opposing person in that movie. But that's very much worth checking out, The King.
I will check it out.
Yeah, he did great in that too.
All jokes and Batman deaths aside, Ben, any comments on Pattinson and his work here?
No. No, he was good. Yeah. He was really good. I definitely agree with the your Raj sentiment there, Chad.
Yeah.
He was really good. Yeah.
He was a cheeky bugger. I like that. I liked his particular flavorings he brought to the character. You mentioned
I thought
sorry.
No, I was just going to say I thought he was multifaceted. That's what I liked about it.
You mentioned the lead character in this earlier, and I just wanted to refresh your memory that it's John David Washington, Denzel Washington's kid.
What? That's Zell's son?
Yeah, man.
Yep.
And now that you know, it's totally, you can't miss it. Like once you watch this movie again, there's so many common mannerisms. It's remarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not surprised about that. That doesn't change anything for me. I mean, that's great.
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
It's great to see that he's. I'm actually, as much as I love Denzel, I'm less interested in that than what else has he done that I might have seen him in.
He was in Black Klansman recently, which was quite good.
Oh, right. I've seen that movie and I've had it in my queue and I haven't watched it.
It's good. It's quite, for a hyper racist KKK movie, it's quite funny.
Doesn't he like go undercover in the KKK or something like that?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And what's his name? Old Chesticles himself, fucking Kylo Ren is the body double.
Did you just say chesticles?
Yeah, from your back brace in the Star Wars store thing.
Swolo.
Swolo. There
Ben
you go.
Swolo. I'm just saying that as an excuse for it to end up in the show notes, to be fair.
Well, and that's also some kind of death for something.
Oh, it is. Oh, God damn it.
If I had a nickel lately for every single time I'm editing this show and I hear you go, oh, God damn it, that's death.
Yeah.
Because you made a Star Wars reference.
And I think that the original Star Wars death is because I just wouldn't shut the fuck up about Star Wars every time. So I'm keeping the faith here.
There you go, man.
Not only is it Batman all the way down, it's apparently Star Wars.
Star Wars all the way up. We're moving both ways through time, Benny.
Oh, is that
Wait
that's some kind of palindrome?
Hey,
I was just going to say that.
A man, a plan, a canal, Panama.
Ooh. You see, the bullets go back into the gun.
You're catching them. You're actually catching the bullets. And then he's just like, whoa.
You're catching the bullets. That's why it feels weird.
And you can't breathe the air because it's inverted. And when you leave, you have to say bad bye instead of goodbye.
Jesus, that's a dad death. Holy fuck.
Oh, come on. That was funny. Ben was laughing.
Yeah, it was. I'm feeling both things, but I liked that because, I think this movie needs a little bit of
levity,
a little bit of its seriousness unraveled for it.
Fair enough.
I thought we were just kind of on a tear like that. That's why I threw it in there. I thought it was pretty damn funny.
You got to throw it out, see what sticks. All good.
Hey, I was on that tear with you.
Maybe I should have said, so he says hello when he leaves and goodbye when he arrives. I have whatever. That's more of a death. Anyway, where the hell were we?
We were talking about cast.
Denzel's kid, right. So, George Denzel Washington.
It feels weird because the poop is going back in.
Yeah. That's going to get edited out. Edited for family content. So.
I went to the pass and unate a cheeseburger.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, so we were talking about Denzel Washington's son. Trying to be serious for 1 second, I really enjoyed his performance. I loved that he was the protagonist with no name.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that he just dialed it in. I didn't really. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm kind of in my memory noticing the sort of the Denzel kind of mannerisms and whatever, but he's just solid on his own. I'm so glad I didn't know that he was Denzel's kid before I watched this because I really enjoyed him, man.
Yeah.
Smooth, nice look.
He had a swagger.
Yeah. Solid actor too, man. Really solid.
Definitely. Yeah, he did great.
Just like his dad. In retrospect, just like his dad. Really, really good. Committed, the whole thing. That's my thing on, I can't remember his name. What's his name? George Denzel Washington?
John, it's like
John.
George Foreman, and all of his kids are George. It's Denzel Washington. John David Washington.
Denzel.
Like Macaulay, Culkin.
Macaulay, Culkin.
It's one of the greatest things ever. I've grown to love Mr. Culkin.
I have too. I love him. He's great.
You mentioned the protagonist as the character name. I thought I saw something interesting that was saying one of the reasons why this person thought it was an inaccessible movie, or maybe I should say one of the reasons why this person thought that audiences found the movie inaccessible is because the characters are very unrelatable and they're very, neutral. And so he was talking about how the movie itself and the pacing of the movie, it's intended to be more focused on the structure of the story and less on the characters. And so it's a little bit unconventional, and it might be another reason why it was not super approachable.
Yes, I could totally see that. You get like John Q. Average going into a movie like this. He's going to be like, what? No first name?
Yeah.
No last name?
He's got a point. Like, you kind of care about the characters, but you kind of don't. And I don't know. I found myself enjoying the characters. I like the dynamic between Sater and the lead and the wife. I like that kind of triangle, but they're not exactly lovable characters either. So
no, they're not. I mean, kind of moving away from Denzel to Kenneth Branagh.
Did great.
This guy, I feel like this dude is so underrated. Like he doesn't get like the celebrity and the fanfare that a lot of actors get, but he's like a powerhouse.
Dude, he's great.
He's amazing, man. He's directed a lot of great movies too. He directed the original Thor movie.
The original what?
He directed Thor.
He did indeed. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I did too. It was like a origins sort of story, but yeah, it was good.
I didn't realize that. That's cool.
It was serviceable.
And
he's what?
Who the hell are you talking? Oh, they're
Kenneth Branagh, Andre Sater.
The baddie.
Okay, gotcha.
He was great in Dunkirk.
Didn't see it yet.
Well, he's good.
No, I still haven't watched 1917 because I know you're
That's
okay.
That. That's okay.
Anyway, he was Kenneth Branagh was fantastic as usual. He's really knows how to bring the thunder, and he played a great Russian arms dealer without making it too like stereotypically cliche Russian arms dealer with some annoying heavy Russian accent.
Yeah,
which I so don't need.
Well, he was great. He kept it subtle.
He sure did,
no doubt.
Which is always, I think, the mark of somebody playing a good baddie. Is if you can be menacing and keep it subtle at the same time, and not be some monologuing caricature of He's really good.
He was definitely menacing, man. That's a great choice of words. You totally feel the tension when he's just like berating and dominating his wife in all of those scenes. Like it's super rough and remarkable acting chops.
Yeah, and if you're feeling that in those scenes, then he's nailing it, man, for sure.
Yeah.
Because they were tense and scary, and I was like scared for her, you know. So really, really cool and interesting.
I like the hydrofoil sailboat scene where she's just like, "Fuck you," and just like pulls the pin on him, and he flies off the boat. I was like, "Yeah, you go right on."
Yeah, that might have been my favorite part of the whole film. Really, it was, her doling out the justice there and seeing him get his comeuppance. That was pretty.
The
pretty
beauty
sweet.
and majesty of hydrofoils.
Right?
And I love hydrofoils.
I mean, the fact that they did that practically is pretty awesome, you know, like out there in the fucking water with gigantic IMAX cameras. I suppose I would like to drop a nugget on y'all that I hope you don't know. The lead actress in this movie is AKA the golden queen of the gold people in Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Oh man, what's her name? Barbara Dillbeck or Dilworth or something?
Elizabeth Debicki.
Not even close. Which is such a death for me. That's a special Kev death right there.
I didn't pick up on the fact that that's who she was until I was like poking around after watching this the first time. And I was like, oh my God, I loved her in Guardians, dude. She was so great as the leader of that weird video game race of gold people.
Agreed.
Yes.
Video game race.
Well, they have those like all those pods that they're in towards the. That's the first one or the second one? That's the first one. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It is volume 2.
It's a volume 2. Okay.
Oh, what? It is?
Yeah, you're right. Such a good movie.
Yeah, so good. So, Barbara Dillbeck. Yep, got it. She was great in Guardians and great in this.
Old Babs.
Really.
Old Babs Dill Pickle.
I really enjoyed her performance. She was great. And very, like, gorgeous in that, like, tall British kind of way, you know?
And
Had
just
that kind of...
like you were saying too, Benny, like she just like gives him his comeuppance on the boat, and then at the end, you know, just being like "fuck you, bro," and just like polishes him off. It was just great.
I gotta say, I really enjoyed her greasing him on the boat. That was very satisfying. You know, after the events of the film. So, who else? Unless you guys have anything else on Babs
Old Babs, nah.
or Seder.
Babs Dill Pickle.
Babs Dill Pickle.
It's like a fucking SpongeBob character.
Yeah, Babs Dill Pickle lives at Bikini Bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Morty, I'm a pickle.
Come here, Morty. Selenia.
I think that the minor characters really jumped out at me too. I really enjoyed them a lot.
The Indian actress was quite good.
I was gonna try to avoid saying that because I don't know if the guy's Indian or not, but certainly from that part of the world.
Which guy?
Fantastic.
The guy in the plane?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I was talking about the arms dealer lady. Himesh Patel is the name of the dude that helped with the plane caper.
Well, I was going to talk about her too. They were both fantastic, you know, and I not only enjoyed, you know, the actors' portrayals, but the characters themselves I found to be really excellent as well. You know, they were intriguing, and I like the way this movie is written, and for the most part, in a lot of the places. I mean, especially taking the kind of the time travel element out of it, because that gets a little bit convoluted, as we talked about. You know, the rest of it is well written. You know, and I like the way they executed that entire heist with the Freeport thing. It was just awesome.
Yeah, that was super cool. Just Jimmy Google's informing me that Himesh Patel is an English actor, whereas the arms dealer lady is an Indian actress.
Okay, good. Thank you for the correction.
Yeah, I really liked that Freeport scene.
Arguably the best scene in the movie, actually. You know, it's kind of like a really great heist within another larger film, you know. And I love a good heist. Everybody loves a good heist. You son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch, I'm in. Yeah. I found that similar to whichever Captain America movie was the spy one, the second movie, I believe.
Winter Soldier, yep.
Notoriously, I'm not a huge fan of that, but I didn't really pick up on the fact that Winter Soldier was a spy movie, which should be really obvious. I just didn't dawn on me. Similarly here, I didn't pick up on the fact that this is a spy movie, but evidently it is. Like,
good point.
You know, Nolan specifically is like, I've always wanted to make a spy movie, and this is Nolan's spy movie. So I'm curious if you guys picked up on that, because clearly my calibration's broken considering I didn't pick it up with Winter Soldier.
Well, you know what? It's so in your face that it's a spy movie, but the sort of the problem is that the movie, that element of the movie kind of gets overshadowed by the time travel very, very quickly. And the time travel is so complex and so different and so strange that you're all of a sudden you're like, you're not thinking about that. But it's a spy movie through and through. You know what I mean? And I could argue that the time travel element kind of takes away from the fact that it's a spy movie. What do you think, Ben?
I absolutely agree.
Did you pick up on the spy movie stuff or not really as much?
Yeah, I did. But it was like somehow in the midst of all this convolution, there is, the heart of a spy movie trying to shine through.
Yeah,
for certain. But I guess the funny thing is, if Nolan really wanted to make a spy movie, he that might be lost on a lot of people with this film.
Might not have been the best choice.
For sure.
like I can't imagine, if you like removed the unnamed main character and literally made it a James Bond movie and James Bond was in his place, like I don't know if it would work, like so.
No.
I guess to both of your points.
I don't think it would.
I think James Bond fans would be pissed.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like, what the heck? It's, lacks the camp and kind of the over-the-top silliness, actually, of a Bond movie.
It's too serious, yeah. Too intense, too Nolan.
There's one thing the movie is, it's very Nolan.
No doubt about that. But in terms of the Freeport stuff, it kind of had like a Ocean's 11, maybe not, but what I'm driving at here is like they're walking down the street talking about like the plane and we'll do this and we'll do that and it's a bit dramatic this, and it's like a 1 minute scene, and then the character played by that dude Himesh Patel steps in and they talk about it for like less than 2 minutes of film time, and then it just cuts to the heist. Like so often in movies, it's like planning and planning and planning and training and training and training, and then they do the heist. And I just really appreciated how short and sharp a lot of these sequences were, like it just really like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, thinking about it now, I dug that too, for sure.
Which is funny because I think that what you're talking about is probably what adds to that feeling of it being made up as it's going along.
Right.
To me.
Yeah, the dude that was talking on YouTube about the, I don't want to say blandness of character, but the fact that you don't connect with a character, he was basically saying like, if you're not going to have characters that you can connect with, the story needs to be like really tight. And so, the flip side of that is like, if the characters are boring, you're going to have a real hard time enjoying the movie if it just kind of drags on. So that might be what they were driving at there, but I could see how it would seem unplanned or poorly planned or whatever.
I don't know.
I could totally see a lot of the reactions like that to this movie very easily.
But Nolan doesn't strike me as the kind of person that wouldn't plan it, though. So I mean, I know you said that earlier in the conversation, but it's interesting. It's interesting that it could be taken that way, considering how seemingly hardcore this dude plans his movies. So
he's so meticulous, man. But that's the beauty of like a hyper planner or somebody that is that meticulous, is like you can make it so meticulously planned that it does seem like it's kind of unplanned or an all over the place mess, and it almost begs for you to watch it multiple times just so you can understand it.
Yeah.
To go back to that old chestnut.
Mm.
And again, I think that maybe where it's, slightly over ambitious, you know what I mean? Like in the sense that I could totally see so many people not getting this movie at all.
I don't know, man. Like Inception is ambitious.
Very.
This just feels in parts flimsy.
Can you throw out one particular spot that you remember, Ben, that you think it's flimsy?
Just like Chad said, the speaking about the heist for 2 minutes before it happens. It feels like something out of a fever dream, like you're finding yourself in the middle of something often.
Right.
The way it unfolds and picks up, it just starts to feel like
you've been dunked into the middle of it.
I feel like the viewer being dropped into these sequences is similar to the character experiencing these kind of new, temporal things, You know, it would be confusing for the character, and I kind of get the feeling that maybe they're going for like trying to drop the viewer in the same seat so that there's a bit of, you know,
You're along for the ride kind of thing.
you're going through a similar thing that the character's going through, but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it worked.
I think it's possible that they're going for something. I just don't know that it had the effect on me that they were going for, you know?
Wait, Chad, did you say temporal or tempura?
Both. Yeah, tempura prawns.
I
Yeah.
wish it was tempura. I wish the whole movie was about
I'm
tempura.
always down for some tempura.
Tempura is so good, right?
Right?
Right? Oh my god.
There's a fan theory that I think it fits here because to your point a minute ago, Kev, of a hyper planner can allow things to unravel because in theory that plan will come together and be really tight and sharp at the end. So like it allow like a hyper planner can allow for there to be all kinds of different things going on because like in a Prestige or an Inception, it comes together in just such a magical way that it's like, oh holy shit, that's awesome. And I feel like that was somewhat missed here. And I feel like your comment earlier on the ending being like, yeah, we've known each other for 20 years, bro. Air high five. I'm going to walk away in the desert, you know, like.
That's where it really got away from me.
Sure. And like.
Yeah, same.
There wasn't really a twist per se. And unlike a Prestige or an Inception, like it just wasn't a holy shit moment. And there's a fan theory which would actually provide that, whether it's intentional or not. But the fan theory is that Neil, played by Robert Pattinson, is actually the kid Maximilian. So the theory is that, you know, like the movie does its thing, and then at the end of the film, the protagonist is there and ends up taking out the Indian woman in the car, and the lead actress and Maximilian. Sorry, I need to look at the lead actress's name because it's really disrespectful for me to say that.
It's Barbara Dillbeck.
This is Liz Debicki, isn't it?
The character Kat. So the protagonist ends up stopping the Indian woman and her henchman from killing Kat or causing trouble, and it's kind of implied that the protagonist and Kat have a bond as a result of the whole thing and taking out Seder, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's implied that the protagonist becomes a fixture in her life and Maximilian's life. And so like it would be interesting if that were the case and Max the kid is thankful for, you know, the protagonist helping to rescue and save his mother, and that like respect and that bond grows into Max actually getting a master's in physics, as he says in the opening, so that he can better understand the issues that he can that he knows he will face by going back to help. And I really like that fan theory, even though it's very cockamamie. It was just really interesting, and that type of thing could have actually been an Inception or Prestige like twist if it had been handled in an interesting way.
Okay, I dig the theory for sure. I think it's cool. I don't really think we should spend a ton of time going down that road.
No, but other than a twist example, and it seems missing from the film, I think it's an interesting.
No, it's super cool, and it is actually pretty plausible. I think the twist is actually, or my interpretation or perception of the twist was that the reveal at the end where he's like, you know, you did recruit me and we will be friends for 20 years and then all this stuff will happen, you know? And it's like, okay, that's pretty cool. But
like he starts as the person who doesn't know what's going on, and you find out at the end that he was the mastermind all along, kind of thing.
Right. Is that he was the one that was, you know, he was there the whole time. And I mean, I think the problem is that we've seen twists like this before, so it's just not fresh. I think that's more the problem than anything. To be looking for like some sort of, you know, maybe greater twist or whatever. I definitely dig that fan theory though. I think that's super cool. Because I'm going through it in my head, and I'm like, yeah, I could see that. Like, kid, da-da-da-da-da-da, and then, you know, physics degree, boom, there you go, Timecop.
Timecop 2. Time, cop.
So, yeah. Anything on that, Ben Higo?
Anything on that thinly sliced ham? No, thank you.
You want to talk about Aaron Taylor Johnson for a second?
Jonathan Taylor Thomas? Who's Aaron Taylor Johnson?
No, you were right. It's Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Heartthrob.
Anyway, Aaron Taylor Johnson? Is that what I said? God, I'm so blown out.
Yep, that's what you said.
He played I'm fairly certain he played the British commando who was sort of the head of that particular operation. And this guy is super chameleon, man. He played he was the lead character in Kick-Ass, and he also played Quicksilver in the Age of Ultron.
Yeah, right.
Really, really great actor. You don't see a lot of Americans play Brits and do it well, and he nailed it.
I had no idea. Thank you for everybody's keving me. That's cool.
Well, that's what's so. I mean, that's what's so great about his performance is that he's so buried in the character, you don't even realize who it is. You don't even realize that it's not a Brit. You know,
makes me want to go watch Kick-Ass again.
Kick-Ass is good.
He was good in this. He held his own.
He's good in pretty much everything he does, man. He nails it. You know, I liked him in Quicksilver. I liked the interpretation of Quicksilver better in the X-Men films, but I still thought he was good as Quicksilver.
Yeah, it's been a long time for that too. Quicksilver, like, who was the one? Oh, that was a different. Yeah, I'm just gonna shut up. I'll just die if I keep talking.
I prefer the other guy. I don't remember what the actor's name was, but
I don't remember either. I liked it better. Yeah,
that time in the bottle scene and
in the prison cell thing, the Magneto one.
Mm-hmm. The
Magneto
breakout.
Breakout Magneto is just one of my favorite. It's definitely my favorite speed scene. You know, like
ever.
My favorite interpretation of a super fast, super doing things.
Super fast guy.
Yeah, like I don't know. I guess him or the Flash. I can't think of any others off the top of my head.
What about A-Train and whatever that other?
Still tops A-Train. Yeah.
What's the other guy's name from The Boys?
The other guy,
the B-level guy who was trying to race him in the very beginning.
What was his name?
Shockwave or something stupid.
Yeah,
like
that.
That probably was what it was.
That was another one though, like that opening scene from Boys season 1 where Robin gets blown up is a pretty good high speed sequence. Just like, holy shit, that's heavy duty.
That was heavy duty.
I think Magneto's scene definitely takes the cake, but that was another speed one where it's like, wow, that's dark.
Yeah, that was. I mean, the time in a bottle scene was probably the best, period.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
I don't know. I just started thinking about like the times we've ragged on like the speedster in general as an archetype in comics.
Yeah, it's kind of stupid. But
it is stupid. Hey, we've got to get all these wedding thank you notes out. No problem.
I can do that.
Yeah.
All right.
How are we going to make enough sandwiches for this picnic? I got it. No problem. Oh, my God.
But the best
What's the problem? What's the trouble, Billy? My dad said I had to restack all this wood over here.
My favorite thing about you talking about the sandwiches there is I was picturing the guy like making the sandwiches at Mach 3, and every time he moves to the next sandwich, like the lettuce blows off the previous sandwich. Like him getting really frustrated, He can't even do that well.
Oh my God.
I was just picturing like time in a bottle starting to play in every one of these scenarios when he goes to make the sandwiches or chop the wood or
stack the wood,
send out the thank you notes.
Exactly.
Oh man, I wish we had the capability to do that. That is funny, man.
We needed a little levity in this one, that's for sure.
It's kind of got like a now you know kind of G.I. Joe feel to a little bit, like what's the matter, Billy? Why are you so down? My dad said I had to shovel the whole driveway. No problem.
Body massage.
Now I can go to the arcade. Now you know.
Body
Avoiding
massage.
work and getting superheroes to do it is better for everyone. Goodness, that was funny.
Third time's the charm, Benny.
Body massage.
Who wants a body massage?
Roadblock.
I'm looking at 3 identically shaped waveforms, one getting bigger than the next.
Mm-hmm,
As I'm trying to get Kev to hear me saying body massage.
That's it. That's
No,
it.
I'm glad you. Yes, very good. It was very funny.
Pork chop sandwiches.
It's just, I don't know.
Shall we mosey into bits and bobs?
I'm really just.
Oh.
I can't. Yeah,
Excellent, because Michael Caine is in this movie.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's right.
Michael Caine.
It would have been great if he went in to see Michael Caine, and Michael Caine was like all composed and poised, and then he just went, "You were only supposed to blow the bloody doors off."
That was a great scene with the two of them, man. I like that. I liked that, like, whatever club they were in, the concierge or whatever was being such a dick to the protagonist. And he was just like,
Yeah.
Presume away. I presume you mean Sir Michael Caine. Presume away.
It was the EBD club, Evil British Douchey Club.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah, great scene with Michael Caine. I just wished he was in the movie more. I was kind of bummed that he wasn't.
He's buried too many Batmans, Kev.
I was just going to do that. Nice one.
They might have risked overlapping him in a scene with
Pattinson.
Pattinson.
Ooh, nice tie-in.
This is a suicide, Benny.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
As far as
Batarangs
man.
all the way down.
Wolverangs all the way. As far as other scenes, I really dug the reverse bungee jump tower raid thing. That was cool. Into the arms dealer's place.
I like that. Yep, that was super cool. We're on bits and bobs, right? Bits and bobs.
Bits and bobs.
Bits and bobs.
And the Matrixy highway chase scene was pretty cool too. The car blasting backwards and stuff. I don't know. I liked it.
I did. I mean, again, like to the whole palindrome, the name of the film thing, like we get to see a lot of the events of this movie forwards and then backwards, and seeing the highway chase bit, seeing like really so many of the events of the movie unfold at the end backwards from the other perspective, I thought was super neat. Right up until they did the raid with all the soldiers. That's where the whole thing just kind of, I think, falls apart. But let's continue with the bits and bobs. Have you got a bit and or a bob?
I guess on that reverse thing, there's some cool making of stuff out there where the choreography, the stunt choreography, they actually trained backwards. So like they would film the forward sequences, I think, and then they would study them and then try and recreate the movement so that it looked like they were moving backwards, so they could film it regularly and then run the tape back. Like, it was just like really weird problems that hadn't been encountered in stunts and whatnot before, which I thought was kind of cool.
Hey, John, do you want to go to the movies today? I can. I got backwards training today. I gotta learn how to do everything in reverse. I'll be walking backwards, eating backwards. So no, I can't.
All the choreography was pretty cool, though, man. I gotta say, like, it would have been pretty fun to work on as a stunt person. Something fresh, at least.
Again, Nolan, he's so meticulous. Like, you can't not appreciate the level of detail he puts into it, even if, the movie is controversial or convoluted or whatever you want to say about it. Like, he put the work in, no doubt. And it looked fantastic, and that was part of it as well.
Yeah, the bit where he fights himself is pretty cool.
Yeah, twice in the airport raid. Yeah, I really liked seeing that. Well, I mean, and again, like talking about the reveals, like, it was like a string of mini reveals at the end as he was going through that whole sequence. And then you were like, oh, it was him. Oh, it was him. Oh, it was him.
All the way, baby.
Kind of thing, I thought that was neat.
There's something that
Denzel, all the way down.
John David Washington Fractal.
I thought it was George Denzel.
Nah, that's just you being a dick.
It's George Foreman, Denzel.
Denzel Washington.
Foreman, Denzel Washington.
Did you guys pick up on this is a multi-watch thing. I didn't pick up on it until I watched it again.
George Foreman, Macaulay, Culkin. Macaulay, Culkin.
Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington.
I like that.
I might change. I still have a few more weeks, I think, and when I can legally change my daughter's name. So I might just go with that.
That'd be a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, you should.
Just to be clear, it is John. He is John David Washington.
John David Washington. Yeah.
John David Washington. Got it. All right. I won't get it wrong again.
I thought you were just like cracking jokes the whole time. I like that. That was probably not the case.
I definitely forgot once or twice.
Like Babs
I was
Pickle,
cracking jokes.
Babs
you know,
Pickles McGee or whatever her name was.
he was pretty excellent in this movie, so I'd hate to see him
Oh, he was
glossed
awesome.
over by people just because we kept fucking with his name because it was funny.
So the opening scene in the opera or the whatever, not opera, the fucking symphony, when the first inverted bullet happens, the little string bullshit's dangling off the back of the bag of the person who saves George Foreman, Macaulay, Culkin, Denzel Washington.
Yep.
And so obviously, like on the second viewing or whatever, it becomes clear that it was Neil saving the day in the opening scene as well as the closing scene, which I thought was cool.
Oh, right. Yes. I think that's the other thing about this is that there's like a series. Maybe I said this a minute ago or not, but it's just like a series of small reveals.
Yeah.
I did say that. Just never mind. Yeah. That was cool, Chad.
That opening SWAT sequence was cool too. I think it was a good intro to the whole thing.
It was great, and I'll tell you. Here's my one kind of bit and or bob, as you like to say. In the very beginning, one of the guys who was on that team, who's in the driver's seat, was an actor named Andrew Howard, who is, I think, Welsh or Australian.
Okay.
And he's a really great actor. He played the Middle Eastern kind of thuggy guy in Limitless. Would probably be something that everybody would know him from the best. But he's a terrific actor, and I had a chance to meet him a couple years ago when I was out in L.A. on a hanging around for a show that was being filmed, and he was on it. And he's a super talented, and he's a super cool guy.
That's cool.
So it was cool to see him in the beginning of this movie, and I was kind of bummed that we didn't get any more of him in there.
Do you find whenever you recognize people that you've met or worked with that it pulls you out of a film, or is that not really the case?
No, I was like, oh man, that's Andrew Howard. I get like, I don't know, people that I've met or I know, certainly actors that I know that like I'm either acquainted with or I'm friends with. Like if I see them and stuff, I get psyched because I'm like, oh, nice. You know, like you landed something good or you're making it happen. You know, that's how I feel about it.
Cool.
But anyway, that was just a cool little thing for me personally, and he's just great. He was also in the Hatfields and the McCoys. I don't know. It's you know, if you're into westerns at all, like that's not really a western per se, but it's certainly of that period and that ilk. And there's a lot of fantastic actors in that, like Powers Boothe and Tom Berenger, and Andrew Howard plays a really great role in that. So I would encourage anybody to check that out.
Everybody cares.
Here we go, show notes.
Nah.
No, it's fine.
I thought you were going to steal my nugget.
Speaking of SWAT guys,
No, you fucking son of a bitch. You're
Do it, because you know what?
sniping.
He stole your nugget so bad on the Gattaca episode.
he did, and I'm going to sally forth and do it.
Do it.
So,
Yeah, do it, Ben.
SWAT 3 was none other than Wes Chatham from
Amos Burton.
who we know and love from The Expanse.
Oh, smoke! Really?
The incomparable Amos. Yes.
I don't. Did he have any lines? Did we?
I don't even think he had a face. I think he was in a mask.
Yeah, I think he was hidden.
It's just on IMDb. You could see him there.
Damn, that's awesome.
I totally love that Amos Burton was one of the SWAT dudes. It's amazing.
That is very cool. That's a great nugget, Ben. Nice job, and nice job eviscerating
snipe.
Chad there, because you never don't come to the table with nuggets, and when you so viciously sniped him on the Gattaca episode, I was like, I was in shock from that, actually.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with getting sniped. I'm secretly pissed. I'm not really pissed.
I know you're secretly pissed.
Shall we move on to the end? We're pretty much there.
Well, we did bits and bobs, so the end is NDR. Yeah, no?
Well, I just mean like bits in a bits and bobs. Like every once in a while, I think with the bits and bobs, it's like, oh wait, we forgot to talk about the end of the film. I just kind of like I dug the kind of raid of the Russian town sequence. Like I kind of understand what you're saying, where a lot of the reverse walking shit kind of looked a bit janky here and there, but it was interesting. It was kind of cool.
Okay, here's what I think about the end. Like the soldiers scene is where it all started falling apart for me. I think that it was cool. It was all filmed well. It looked cool. You know, there were certain parts of it where it was like, oh, I can see that, like, here now he's going to go back and, you know, blah, 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 whatever. So I don't know. It was just the whole of it, like, you need to watch that scene numerous times just to get a grasp on what the hell is going on. Because it starts, you get confused, and then we get the big reveal at the end from Pattinson, and then you're really just left there with your pants around your ankles, like, what in the world just happened, man? You know, so that's how I feel about it. I think it was great. Visually, it looked cool, and it was well done. It just too confusing, man.
Yeah, I definitely understand anyone who says that sequence got a bit convoluted, but I dug it. Samesies, Benny?
Samesies.
The movie didn't improve for me at that point. No.
Yeah.
Definitely wasn't the scene where I was like, okay.
Oh, this is great.
Now I'm in.
Now I get it.
Totally fair. Watch the movie 5 more times, please. Thank you. Bye.
Not gonna happen.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Not happening, bro.
I'm gonna watch it again for sure, but I don't know. You know, there's a lot going on here. I mean, look, in every Nolan movie, there's so much material to digest, you know, and it's easy to miss stuff. Like, as a fan of The Prestige, I've watched that movie so many times, and I was picking stuff up like on watch 20, you know, that I was like, oh, you know, so, you know, you could make a case that he kind of overpopulates his films, you know. He's not one for the simplistic approach, that's for sure, you know, so this movie's really no different than any of those in that respect, and this one, I think it got a little too muddy there.
Yeah, I think I'm riding on that YouTuber's motorcycle where he says this is going to become more and more respected over time.
I think you and the YouTuber are both high on your own supply.
You may be right. NDR? Can we do the NDR?
Yeah, man.
Do we need to talk about the N more? Yeah. I don't have any nuggets. I think I don't have a nugget. No, I wasn't prepared for a nugget.
Yeah, I had one remaining nugget, which was sniped, so that's totally understandable. I dropped a couple of other ones throughout. The GOG2 one and the whole like Pompeii Tenet palindrome thing were my other nuggets.
The GOG one was a nice nugget. Yeah, I like that. And the most nuggy of the nugs that you dropped, I think. Let's move. Deaths, we certainly got a lot of those. You want to move on?
Yeah, man, rattle them off.
Okay, I started us off with that Timecop joke. That
It deserved more out of us, but
yeah.
Well, it had an interesting effect. I was joking, and we haven't done anything like that before, so that was interesting. Then Chad got a death from that, somewhat of a volunteer death, and then we had Ben's Batman death, then Chad's Star Wars death. Too bad we didn't have a Matrix death, so we could get a 3-fer going on. Oh, that's a Matrix death. And then my bad bye dad joke, which I actually thought was good. Then my Barbara Dillbeck death. And then Ben had a bat suicide, which I don't think we've ever had. And then Chad, you were horribly sniped by Ben in revenge for the Gattaca snipe.
Yep, which is fine.
And then I had my Matrix death. Oh, and then another Matrix death. And it just keeps going. It's a time loop.
That's definitely a fucking death.
Ratings.
I think this movie is a 6.
And
I liked it. And I am liking it more every time I see it. And I am very curious to see what I think about it in 10 years.
I like this movie too. I'll give it a 7 and leave it at that.
Yeah, I think I'll echo with that. I think this movie is a 7.
Sweet.
Yeah, could have been better. Could have been worse. Seven's good.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of,
I'm surprised my 6 didn't get any reaction out of you dudes.
well, I mean, it's pretty clear you've been.
Your 6 didn't get a I mean, that's high for you. That's above 5.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, it's high, but I mean, I don't think it's any surprise you're clearly defending the movie,
Drinking
the
the
whole way
Kool-Aid.
through.
Yeah.
Drinking the Kool-Aid.
Oh yeah, dude, this kid is drinking the Kool-Aid, Benny.
I think you liked it.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised at how much I liked it.
I think you liked it, man, and you're trying to pretend like you don't like it, but you did.
No, I definitely did. I think it's a good movie. I definitely don't think it's in the Inception and Prestige space, but I don't know. I enjoyed it.
If you're comparing Nolan movies, this is way down the list, dude. Like Batman Begins is one of my favorites, more so than The Dark Knight, and then Prestige, Inception, Interstellar. Like I love all of those movies. This movie's not there.
Yeah.
It has the ingredients to make good cookies, but the cookies didn't come out quite right.
Isn't Interstellar Jonathan Nolan?
I might put it above 2, if not 3 Batman movies.
Is Interstellar what, Ben?
Isn't Interstellar Jonathan Nolan?
No, I'm pretty sure it's Chris Nolan. No? Is my knowledge wrong? Could be. Enhance. Beep, boop, bleep, boop.
Christopher Nolan. Written Jonathan and Christopher, directed Christopher.
Yeah, it was written by, never mind, I guess.
It was written by Matthew McConaughey's shirtless chest.com.
Yeah, and the ink
While
was,
he's driving a Lincoln, rolling a booger in Austin.
And the ink for the script was written with the tears of Matt Damon.
Craft ink. Crafted from Matt Damon's tears. You will shit in your pants when you see the Academy Award nominated Matt Damon's tears. Anyway,
That's us.
C-Lab, what do we have going on for next week?
Next week, we're going to cover Weird Science, which we've mentioned quite a few times, and it's nice to finally get to it.
Yes, we have. Yes, absolutely. One of my all-time faves.
And I'm looking forward to the Paxton.
Oh, man.
Oh, shit, that's right.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Just spitting this. That's it. That's all I'm doing right now. Nice. Nerd. Well, that's going to do it for this episode, folks. Hope you enjoyed our lightning round on Tenet. Stay tuned next week for the John Hughes classic 1985 Weird Science. And goodbye.
So, yeah.
Ciao.
And that's going to wrap up this week's episode, folks. If you'd like to support us, there's numerous wonderful ways you can do that. You can do it on Patreon now, patreon.com/EBD podcast. You can also rate us and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcast nuggleberries. You can find the show notes for this episode in your podcast app of choice or at our website, ebd.fm/episodes/97. Also, folks, don't forget to follow us on social media. You can find us on most social media platforms using the handle @EBD Podcast. Join in on the conversation. As always, thanks for joining us, folks, for Tenet. We'll see you next week for Weird Science. So long, folks.
One for C-Lab, 2 for Torhigo, 3 for Wolverine to round out the trio in this episode. Everybody dies.
Beady, beady, beady. Stop into it.